Good evening. This coming week, we'll be reading Parshat Tetzaveh on Shabbat, but before we get there, we have the holiday of Purim this Thursday night and Friday. Rav Soloveitchik writes that there's two types of avodas Hashem, two types of serving God. One is continuous, and it is applicable to everyone in slightly different ways, but on the ongoing mitzvot of serving Hashem. So there's a second type of divine service, and that is a special urgent summons, which God addresses to a specific person in a specific time. An example of this is in the end of Parshat Vayera. We see with the Akedah, where God says to Avraham, "Kach na et bincha," take your son and offer him. It's a one-time command. Esther is in a very similar situation. In the fourth parak, we read about Mordechai is at the gate in sackcloth. Esther's communicating with him through Hatach, and he's part of her retinue is working to bring messages back and forth. And Mordechai wants Esther to go to Achashverosh. And she says, no one can go to the king without being summoned. The penalty for doing such is to lose your life. And the only reprieve would be if he extends his scepter. Then the person who has had the chutzpah to go forth when not being summoned would not be put to death. And Mordechai responds to Esther, do not imagine that you can escape to the king's palace from the fate of all the Jews. But if you keep your silence at this time, relief and salvation will come forth for the Jews from some other place. But you and your father's house will be lost forever. And who can say, could it not be for just such a time as this you came into royalty? Mordechai is telling Esther, you have a unique mitzvah at this point. And yes, it involves great personal risk, but the safety of the Jewish people, their deliverance, redemption, is in her hands. She has a unique mitzvah at this very moment, much in the way that Avraham did at the Akedah. But here, instead of HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly commanding, it's coming through Mordechai. And says Rav Soloveitchik, all of us will have opportunities in our life where there'll be a unique mitzvah, a unique opportunity to serve Hashem that can only be done through us, through the unique circumstances that we are in. It says, many events that at first glance seem completely irrelevant may transpire in order to give the individual an opportunity to perform his mission. He is catapulted into the strangest place, since only there it is possible for him to serve. That we have unique opportunities, and we have to be sensitive to them and alert and aware that sometimes there are things beyond the everyday avodat Hashem that we have, that we're called upon to do, that use our unique talents and abilities and the circumstances of our lives to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And much like Esther, we have the opportunity sometimes to achieve greatness. Shabbat Shalom and Purim Sameach, everyone.